Hey guys, we are back with the Denver Diaries. I took some time off, as you guys know. That is my microwave.
But me, I'm an idiot.
I made baked spaghetti last night because I got cheese. I don't know how difficult it is for you guys to get cheese where you stay, but as a Peace Corps volunteer in China, getting cheese is like a really big deal. Today, I'm actually gonna go off script, or rather unscripted, I guess is a better way of putting it. I got a little, not ranty, but I got very in my feelings earlier. And I just wanted to talk about what was the hardest part of my service. All right, hardest part of my service has definitely got to be coming to the realization that I cannot save people, and that I'm not as, I don't want to say I'm not as valuable as I thought I was, but I'm definitely not as directly involved with the success of my students as I thought I would be. That was a huge blow for me because I definitely came into the Peace Corps with a white savior complex, like me of all people having a white savior complex, and I didn't realize that my vision of how my service would go was actually more like a fantasy. Like I'm thinking of like Kusanagi in the background playing. I'm like holding up little Chinese kids in slow motion and doing Tai Chi in a park somewhere with this music playing in the background. It's like super peaceful. I'm just saving lives left and right. I mean, it's freaking amazing. What I actually got was something more along the lines of like, you know, kids pooping in the street, people spitting everywhere. I'm getting called African everywhere I go. Nobody wants to learn English in my classes. Like, it's real fun. And I can't even be mad. Like, I was wrong thinking I would have that level of impact in such a small amount of time. It's completely unreasonable to think like that. And I only just recently realized that I definitely came into the Peace Corps with these super high expectations, and even though I said that I wouldn't have any expectations, I definitely did. I would just get really frustrated that my students didn't want to accept my help. I'm giving you the English, like all you have to do is take it, all you have to do is study it, all you have to do is practice and learn it. I can't force this into your head, just let me save you, why can't I save you, just. And yeah, I realized that I was becoming frustrated over something I just really couldn't control. I thought the success of my students was a direct representation of how I am as a teacher. And if my students did not succeed, it just meant that I was a bad teacher. And if they succeeded, it meant I was a great teacher. That's totally wrong. Like, I couldn't have been more wrong about that. I let my ego just sort of take over this process, and it was just a very unpleasant journey, realizing that if my students fail, it's not my fault. And if my students succeed, it's not my credit to receive. You know what I'm saying? Like, if my students do well, it's not because of me. It's because they wanted to do well. They took information that I gave them and they applied it. I may have inspired them or given them English, but at the end of the day, that's on them. If they succeed, they should be given the credit for that, not me. And likewise for them failing, I always took credit for my students doing horribly. And then I finally realized not too long ago, like, hey, you know what? I'm giving you this. Do what you want with it. Take it or leave it. As a volunteer, this is extremely liberating because I just could not shake the idea that it was on me. It's my job to make sure they do well. If they fail, it's my fault. I couldn't shake this. And it sounds completely irrational, but that's just the way that my mind works, or worked at the time. That was the hardest part for me. And sometimes it still is very difficult. I don't want to give you the impression that you are so insignificant that you might as well not even be at your site. That's not what I'm trying to say at all. Don't stress yourself out over things you can't change, and don't take someone else's credit. We really are here for more of a soft skills development project as opposed to teaching English skills. And I mean, teaching English is the number one thing that we do here, but we're doing so much more than that. And unfortunately, it's not tangible. We can't measure the sort of progression that our students are having with just us as foreigners to them, foreigners being present. But at the end of the day, you might not see a lot of the progress that your students make, and they might not tell you that they've made that progress. You may never know how you've impacted your students, and I think the sooner you become okay with providing quality information to students and not expecting anything in return, as long as you become okay with validating yourself, affirming that you are a good teacher, even if your students will not tell you because they won't, even if other faculty members won't tell you because they won't, even if your school doesn't tell you because they won't. The best thing I learned how to do in my service was to build myself up. As an extrovert, I perform well when I get great feedback from others. Being here and not having any sort of feedback like that really forced me to evaluate myself. I'm doing a good job. I'm giving them quality materials. I know I'm a good teacher, whether or not they think so, whether or not they tell me, whether or not I'm being told at all. I know this. I don't even know where I'm at. I need to have a rest. I hope that I'm making sense when I put this all together. Oh, if you're a current volunteer or looking to volunteer, please drop me a line in the comments and tell me what the toughest part of your service is / was / you think might be. Yeah, that was confusing. Tell me about the most difficult part of your service, or what you think the most difficult part of your service will be. I definitely thought the most difficult part of my service would be something physical, like not having a nice apartment, not having access to water or the internet or something, but it's actually a lot more emotional. So yeah, I'm curious to hear about that. I will catch you guys later on #TheDenverDiaries.